What is up? It is Big Char Trades back with another video, and in this video I'm going to be breaking down my trade from today. If you saw my tweet or my TikTok post or my Instagram post, you'd see that I caught a nice 70-point short today, made like $500 across my accounts. So in this video I'm going to show you the entire trade, why I took it, my bias, and then my actual execution. Been getting a lot of questions about it, so here we go. Well, I trade the 4-hour PO3. So if you know how I trade, you know that I look for PD arrays on the hourly and the 15-minute time frame after that 10 a.m. 4-hour candle opens, and then I drop to the aligned lower time frame and look for an execution. Okay, the hourly time frame is aligned with the 5-minute execution, and the 15-minute time frame is aligned with a 1-minute execution. So let me break it down. First glance, before 10 a.m. even opened, I saw this new weekly opening gap. Whenever we have a new weekly opening gap, we can assume that it's going to get filled at some point. So this was my draw for the day. What did I do? That 10 a.m. candle opened up, and I immediately dropped to the hourly or the 15-minute time frame. Now, on the hourly time frame, as you can see, there aren't really any PD arrays that look too enticing here. We do have this order block, but I didn't use it because why didn't I use it? I don't know why I didn't use it, but I didn't use it. I used this. I'll explain why I didn't use it after we go ahead and run through this trade. But so on this 15-minute time frame, I see two things, right? I see this 15-minute fair value gap, and then I also see this order block right here. Now, I am completely okay with using either one as my PD array as long as price price makes it make sense. So at 10 a.m., right, we can see, let me drop down to the 1 minute because this is where I executed it. Let me make this a little bit easier for you to see. Okay, let me drag that. Okay, so 10 a.m., the 10 a.m. candle opens, right? The 10 a.m. 4-hour candle opens, and immediately what do? We start trading to the upside, right into this 15-minute fair value gap. So if you watch my trade recaps on TikTok or Instagram, you know that I didn't use this fair value gap to frame this trade. I actually used this order block. Well, Charlie, why did you use this order block? Because if this was the PD array that was going to be respected, right? If the 15-minute fair value gap was going to be respected, then let me write 15-minute here. If the 15-minute fair value gap was going to be respected, then we wouldn't be trading this high up into it, right? We would probably respect the CE. We wouldn't have this huge up close candle right here. We wouldn't have all of these bullish PD arrays, leading up to price. So this was like a little bit sus to me. I didn't really want to use this fair value gap. Also, another thing, right? A change in state of delivery on the lower time frame. Right? If you know how I trade, you know that I look for three things on the lower time frame. I look for a liquidity sweep. I look for S&P with ES, right? With ES, and then I look for a change in state of delivery, which is my actual entry, right? So if I'm looking for all of these things, you have to understand what a change in state of delivery is. Change in state of delivery is a candle closure below the series of up close candles that swept highs on the lower time frame. So let's say this was the high, right? We swept that high, but where is the series of up close candles, right? We need a candle closure all the way down here, which is the 4-hour open, in order for this to be the change in state of delivery. Now, obviously, I'm not going to wait for price to change the state of delivery all the way down there, right? What is this range? Okay, if I were to wait for a candle closure down here, this range would have been, 532 ticks or 133 points, and I'm not trading that. So I thought, statistically, that didn't really make sense. So this order block right here on the 15-minute time frame is literally right here, right? Why is this an order block? Well, if you know what an order block is, an order block and a change in state of delivery are very similar, right? An order block, I'm getting crazy here, but just hear me out, okay? An order block is a down close candle in a series of up close candles, right? Let's say a bunch of up close candles, and we have like a fair value gap, right? Let's say we have an up close candle or down close candle that pulls into the fair value gap, right? An order block is, you'll see this, is the candle closure above that candle that pulled into the fair value gap to continue the uptrend, right? So like this would be the order block right here. So we could anticipate price in an order block scenario to come and tap into that fair value gap like this, that order block, and then continue upwards, right? And so like it continues the upwards trend. You get me, right? A change in state of delivery is a down close candle. So let's say this last candle was red, and then we have this green candle that made a new high, right? This is like a little lesson for you guys. And then we have a red candle that closed below that green candle, okay? This is a change in state of delivery, right? A candle closure below the up close candle that swept the high, right? Swept that high. Okay, this is a change in state of delivery. So this is an order block, but it's an order block that changes the trend. It doesn't continue the trend. This, a normal order block, right, not a change in state of delivery, continues the trend. It acts as like support, right? A change in state of delivery does not continue the trend. It actually changes the trend. So like this red close candle, instead of tapping into this order block and continuing upward, the change in state of delivery now dictates that price is going to tap into this order block and continue downwards and use it as support for the way down, right? So that is a change in state of delivery, okay? This is a change in state of delivery, but we can use it as an order block, right, on the higher time frame. So I'll delete all that later. So that was a little good lesson on order blocks. But since we're using that as an order block, right, since price pulled way too deep into this 15-minute fair value gap for my liking, I would like to use this order block as the higher time frame PD rate. So let's see what happens. Let me play. Okay, so again, we tap into this fair value gap, this 1-minute fair value gap, and we tap into this 1-minute fair value gap, okay? Buying up those orders. If you know what a fair value, this is really valuable. I'm just giving you all these definitions. So a fair value gap is a buy side imbalance, right? So these are all unfilled orders. The reason why you can't use fair value gaps that are already mitigated is because if they were tapped into, that means that those orders have been already filled. So a fair value gap is not that strong if those orders are already filled. So in a fair value gap, the reason why you use an unmitigated fair value gap, right, is because those are all still unfilled orders. If we tap into it, right, we filled some orders here, we filled some more orders here, we filled some more orders here. So this isn't like a strong reaction out of this fair value gap because it's been tapped into 3 times, okay? So now that we've filled all those orders, okay, those can't be used as, support to go higher, right? So let's see what happens, right? We go higher, go lower, and then we tap into, I'm not in any trade here, okay? And then once we tap into this order block, remember what a change in state is. Change in state of delivery is a candle closure below the series of up close candles that swept highs in a bearish scenario. So right now, right, this would be the change in state level. Why would this be the change in state level? This is a little bit of a hard definition, but this is the up close candle, the last up close candle that swept highs, right? We swept highs here. This is the new high of the 4-hour. So this would be the change in state level. Okay. Now this right here was my entry. If you go on Twitter, you'll see my executions, right? I'll show you them after this video is done, but that would be my entry. Yeah, that would be my entry. And then I use this as SMT. Wasn't that valid. I just thought this setup was really good. There was a bit of SMT, as you can see here. Okay, like the NASDAQ, the ES clearly pulled higher into the whatever. There are also like equal highs here on the NASDAQ right here. And then, let me draw the line instead. And then on the ES, like there's clearly a lower high right here. So that's external SMT right there. It's not super clean. if I'm being honest, but you know, it does the job. So that was my entry to go short. And then my initial target was just 2R. So the way that I trade, obviously, you know that I always target 2R. So stop always goes at the highs. And then my final TP was 2R, which was right here. Yeah, it was right here. This was my final TP. But we ended up actually going ahead and filling all the way down to the new weekly opening gap. Right down here. Wait, where is it? New weekly opening gap, which is all the way down here. But like, this is my trade. Again, if you want to see my executions, you can see it. So TP hit there, and then we went ahead and filling all the way down to the new weekly opening gap. So that was a nice trade. Small piece of the pie right here. Nice 2R trade. Obviously, continued super far down into the new weekly opening gap, but that was my draw anyway. So this was my trade for today. Again, if you want to see my executions or anything, you can go ahead and go to my Twitter. I have all my executions there. Really good PA today, unexpectedly good PA today. So with all that being said, that was my trade. 70 points, like $470. If you learned anything from this video, go watch my last video where I backtest the PO3. It's really good if you don't really understand how I trade. But with all this being said, have a great rest of your day. Subscribe if you're new. Like the video. Leave a comment. I read all my comments. So really leave a comment if you learn from this or if you want me to make a video about something specifically. And then you can use the link in my YouTube bio to go ahead and follow me on other platforms. That being said, have a great rest of your day. Peace.